What do you do? What do you do? It's your boy Teddy Rose coming at you with a new video, and today we're taking Halo and seeing what it would be like if we crammed it onto an NES. So let's get started. So I really didn't need to go back and play Halo at all because it's one of my favorite games. So naturally over the course of the years, I've come to know the game like the back of my hand. So the main thing I had to focus on was getting the graphics down. So, I started with getting a look at Master Chief and how I would get that look down perfectly if I were making the game for the NES. So I came up with two separate sprites for Master Chief, one that was inspired by Contra and one that was inspired by Mega Man. I liked the Mega Man inspired design better, so I went with that design for the game. Now that I knew what style I wanted to base my characters off of, I was able to get started with animations. So I made some animations for Master Chief, walking, aiming his gun, jumping, etc. Then I had to design my enemies, elites and grunts. After a long time of constantly shifting to get my grunt down, I finally settled on one that felt perfect to me. Next, I had to work on the elite, which went by really quick actually. The elite's design was pretty easy to transfer over to the NES, I don't know why, but for some reason I spent forever on the grunt, go figure. With characters out of the way, I had to focus on environment. Now I was basing my first level off of the Pillar of Autumn from Halo CE. Now Halo's gray design works perfectly fine for a 3D game, but trying to force that much gray into a 2D game for the NES that only has 5 shades of gray was tricky. I know what you're thinking, shut up, but it was hard to find an art style of gray that didn't feel uninspired and void of any design. I feel like with these tile sets, I found a perfect middle ground of blending the limited scale of gray into a design that works for an NES title. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, if you think it sucks, let me know. Like, I'm always trying to improve at everything I do, so the feedback is more than welcome. Let me have it. So, the gameplay. The NES wasn't capable of 3D, and all the games on the NES that tried to implement 3D were very limited, and the gameplay usually suffered heavily because of it. So I didn't want to go down that road. I looked at games like Mega Man and Contra for gameplay inspiration. I also looked at games like Alien Hominid to get a handle on that 2D side-scrolling action. After getting all the inspiration that I felt that I needed to get this game up and running, I felt like I was ready to get started on the engine. Like I did in my Mario video, I made an empty test room for Master Chief to play around in. In Halo, you jump very high, which was a definite bonus for me because that meant I could design sections where you need to scale high jumps, which is always fun in a 2D platformer. I made it so that if you're pressing up, Master Chief will aim at an upwards diagonal angle. If you're pressing down, Master Chief will aim at a downwards angle, giving you the tools you need to hit enemies below and above you. Next, I began working on the enemies, the grunts. I scripted a distance trigger on the grunts. If you get within a certain distance of a grunt, the grunt will enter a state known as active. In the active state, a grunt will strafe left and right and try to throw off your shots. They will also periodically shoot at you. The grunts have 1 HP, so one shot and they're dead. You have 5 HP, so don't let them get you. I began toying with grunts' bullet speeds. After a few minutes of trial and error, I found a bullet speed that didn't feel broken. It's enough times that you can react to it, but not too slow to where dodging them is a walk in the park. So you gotta make sure you're very careful when you're going around different corners and things. I say corners like this is a 3D game. Just when you're walking forward, be careful and watch out and see if a grunt's there because they will fire a shot at you. Now that we've gotten the character design out the way, let's get on to the gameplay. Warning screen, if you bought the game, you were scammed, get your money back. The controls, that way you know what the controls are. So I went with Unforgotten because the Halo theme that I kept finding online, the 8-bit version, was very noisy and loud, and I couldn't find one that didn't just make my ears bleed, so I went with Unforgotten instead. Plus I like that song a lot more, so it worked out in the end. Alright, just like the classic Halo, you start off running with that guy, the thing blows up so you have to go around, and the guy dies. Get your ammo and you're ready to fight some grunts. Just like a classic side-scrolling shooting game, kill everyone in the room, you get to move on. So you get the gist of it, you're going through just like a classic shooting game, just dropping as much enemies as you can while moving through the level. You have your boss battle, an elite. Oh yeah, you also get a mongoose. and you escape into your escape pod. Alright, I didn't want to spoil the whole level for you, so I kind of chopped it up into bits, but that's my Halo NES demo. You can download it in the link below so you can play the game. So, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more videos, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell, because apparently YouTube only works if you ring that bell. Also, I do stream on Twitch, so if you want to catch me on Twitch, that'll be in the description down below. Also, if you want to support the channel in other ways, you can subscribe to our Patreon. I do give daily updates on the video games that I'm working on. So if you want to see daily updates and behind the scenes type things, you can see that on my Patreon as well. So if you want to support the channel in other ways, you can do that. Other than that, you have a great day and thank you for watching my video.